All right. Good evening from Brunswick, Maine. And so, cheers. And let me flip the can here. We're trying to do this with a little social distancing here. There's a cheers. Special guest Owen McGuire. Special guest Aaron Moore. So, yeah. We are doing our, fourth or fifth quarantine-friendly toast, learn about beer edition. And so, if you're going to talk about something, you need to bring an expert in. And Owen is Irish.
That's as close as we get to an expert.
So that makes him an expert, especially on the beer type that we're doing tonight. We're doing porters and stouts. Wanted to kind of do a more general UK, but this Labor Day weekend, the fine people bootleggers had the weekend off. I would say they've earned it because they were open all pandemic.
Cheers to our friends.
Cheers!
At bootleggers.
Boys.
Cheers to our friends at bootleggers.
Yeah, so they've definitely earned it. There were less places with malty beer open, so we kind of focus in on the porters and the stouts. Porter is a style of beer that was developed in London. Owen's going to argue it was perfected by the Irish.
You do realize it's still showing Owen, right?
We don't.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, dear.
I didn't know if you were looking for his reactions or
It's fine, dear.
if they can look at your
Live broadcast. You have to deal with the production crew. It was developed in London, and in the early 18th century, it was well hopped, dark in appearance, and due to its brown malt, and there's gonna be a big adjustment that comes up, and it got its name because of its popularity with street and river porters. I guess people that were like merchants that were bringing stuff in and out. Those porters, almost like those carnies, those sailors, dirty sailors, brought drinking their dirty dark beer, but had a lot of character. So tonight we're drinking some Sam Smith oatmeal stout. Erin is not drinking. She's drinking this foo-foo cocktail, but she's joining us in spirit. We are drinking some Sam Smith. You can find this at most liquor stores. I found this at Bow Street Market. You can find it at bootleggers and most fine. What sticks with you on this kind of?
You gotta flip it. So
Erin, it's fine.
Well, if you're gonna ask them a question,
Yeah.
What? Take another full sip of the.
Swish it around like a sommelier.
See, I like that because with the weather kind of becoming a little cooler, a little crisper, it's a very hearty, very kind of robust beer, perfect for a nice, fall or early winter's eve.
So definitely not a summer ale. It's not like you wouldn't drink it on the 4th of July.
No.
It is heavier. There are different kinds of basic porters and stouts. And a popular one you might see is milk stout. Now, milk stout doesn't have any milk in it. Do you know how it got the name milk stout?
I do not, Muller.
Okay. It got the name milk stout because it has like some flavor, some different live
It's like Kermit
TV.
the Frog doing Sesame Street News.
So this is live. This is unedited, unproduced. So it has its flavor profile.
Please tell me all about it.
It has a lot of things in it that flavor it. That has like milky taste, almost like spoiled milky taste in a way, but a lot of flavor to it. And it got its popularity in about the 1600s, 1700s. They actually marketed it to women who had just had birth to help them lactate
Just gave birth.
Recently gave birth.
All right.
To help
birth.
in the development of breastfeeding their kids. So congratulations, you've made it through 9 months of pregnancy. You get to have a drink again.
Nicole, did you hear that?
We're gonna give you this really strong beer to help your kid out.
Teach them right. See, that's what happens.
So that's milk stout. This is actually
a lot about the Irish.
Yeah, actually in the English too. So this is an oatmeal stout. The oatmeal gives it a very unique sweetness to it.
Question.
Yes.
So does it count as breakfast because it has milk and oatmeal?
It does not. It does not have nutritional value. A lot of earlier beers, did use oats in it, and so that carried over to the stout. It was kind of thing. So there's
You certainly get a more hearty feel to beer when they're made with oats and stuff. So.
very chewy. It's not a high alcohol. There are imperial stouts which have like a lot of alcohol to it. Up to like 10%. This stuff only has 5% alcohol to it. I'm flipping back and forth from and so you don't have to look at me the whole time.
Good.
Imperial, like our hearty Russian friends, those guys can do the robust, robust stuff.
Oh, right here.
Oh, you got
yeah,
this
sure.
thing called
Say-
stout.
okay,
That's
the
cute.
Russians,
We'll make it more Russian. What do you mean more Russian? We'll double the alcohol content.
Yeah, one of the most
Keep you warm during the
one
winter.
of the most well-known imperial stouts is called Old Rasputin. So yeah, there's
He's a good, wise, religious man, Rasputin. Good character.
lover of the Russian queen.
Yes.
Yes, he really looked up to the Russian queen.
According to the song by Boney M.
Not the.
Yeah. So, there are also like less sweet porters. You can get like stuff. You've heard sometimes you hear Cole Porter,
Yep, Cole Porter by Atlantic. Yeah, very.
I like his music.
Cole Train,
Yeah.
Cole whatever. The jazz
Gershwin Holland
Cole Train.
on
Yeah.
Disney Plus next month.
My philosophy for drinking beer, if you're not sure, if something's like really chewy, if you're new to it, you can always start off cold. And yes, you don't get as much of the flavor, but it's a little bit smoother. But yeah, and hi Poppy. Poppy is also joining us for beer night too. But
This
she's
is
looking
how
up.
she feels about their night.
She does not like
she's
stout
not a
apparently
fan
because
of
she's
the
giving
beer.
she's giving us her opinion on stout. So that's those are like your more traditional. But in 1959, the Irish, who were pretty much, I would say would you say, Owen, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like anything that's out of Ireland, not about what we're talking about, is very similar to the English style.
To an extent, yeah. To an extent, yeah.
You do have your Irish Reds. Was that like a traditional thing, or is that like a marketing ploy?
That's
Like
a later, yeah. That's a later thing that came into fruition. I mean, when you think of Ireland, you think of
redheaded.
Stuff.
Yeah, you're redheaded.
Think of that.
Yeah. So into the.
because Mark Philbrick is just wrong on all sorts of things.
So I'm walking near Owen. For those watching at home, I am putting my mask if I walk by him, and I'm gonna grab my glasses. Guinness is, I would say, my philosophy, if you have to drink a traditional stout and like a Guinness draft in the same night, I would start with the traditional stout, and it'd be easier to move on to the Guinness.
Yes. Guinness is going to be, for a stout or a stout that's in draft form, it's definitely on the lighter side. You can make an evening or for most people a St. Patrick's Day out of Guinness. But Guinness actually has a particular interesting story. The beer was actually first brewed, by Arthur Guinness, and the famous story about Arthur Guinness was at the time when his beer was getting somewhat popular, he needed a larger facility. So he approached, forget who it was, but they approached a landlord for some space, and because at the time he didn't have much money, he agreed to, the legend goes, a 10,000-year lease, and that was in 1759, and ever since that, and it is it's been called the beer that built Dublin, which is the capital of Ireland, because at the time Guinness employed, for much of its history, several thousand workers, from brewers. There's an interesting part where they would actually they had coopers that would make their own barrels for transporting of Guinness. So Guinness is a staple for Ireland and is probably the most well-known thing about that. So salute to our Canadian brothers.
Another kind of interesting story. By the way, and I've poured my two, and I want you to see what it looks like before it kind of starts losing its foam. This is my Guinness, and this is my Murphy's, and we'll talk about that a little. But before we get into the Guinness draft, That sounds like a sporting event. The Guinness.
Tom Brady.
The Guinness
Tampa
draft.
To the Buccaneers.
Guinness promised every like UK / Ireland soldier, or maybe just UK in World War II, like a pack of Guinness for Christmas one year. And it turned out, by the way, would you like to sip that? Why don't you sip that, and you're going to tell us your opinion in a second.
Oh, I am?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
You're going to vote on the two. You don't like, I know you don't like either of these beers, but you have to decide the age-old question for it. So if is Guinness or Murphy's
well, you
better?
let me know.
This is Murphy's on, and this is
I
Guinness.
know, I watched you pour.
So they were behind on their production goal of being able to do it, and all these different people who were retired from the Guinness factory came out and basically volunteered to come back to work so that they can make the beer.
Make the quota?
Yeah, make the beer in time for the Christmas gift to honor that to the soldiers. So that was a pretty cool story.
What year was that?
Somewhere 1940 something, World War II.
So not during the Great World War One.
No.
Christmas Eve.
No.
Spectacular.
So, but and otherwise, Guinness may have still even then. I mean, Ireland even then may not have made a real huge impact on the map, even after Guinness came along, until 1959 when they were deciding to do an anniversary brew, and they decided to make their beer look a lot like this. Well, it kind of looks the same if you do the traditional style, but they did something really unique. I've been trying to do a lot of research if they were the first to ever do it. I think it is. I think they definitely beat Murphy's to it.
Are you talking about the widget?
Just nitrogen in general.
Yes.
They added nitrogen.
They have a thingy too.
And if you notice, if you ever drink any beer with nitrogen, it is a lot smoother.
It's usually got a lighter flavor because of the.
It's got a lighter flavor to it. Yeah, you can drink more of it before you start feeling filled because it doesn't have that regular carbonation. It has a lot softer feel to it.
And it's the nitrogen. So when you initially pour a Guinness or Murphy's or something that has
You should switch it so
a
people can.
stout or more of a has nitrogen infused into it, when you initially pour it, the beer gets very cloudy as it hits the glass. And what they call that effect is they call it the surge. So when the beer hits it, the nitrogen is trying to escape. And as the nitrogen releases out of the beer and forms, that's when you get the nice thick head on the top of your nitrogen infused beers. And that's a staple of nitrogen infused beers, is this layer that, and there's debates on how you do that. You just sip it. Do you drink the beer through the...
I think you do. Yeah, I've heard you drink it through. You drink it through the foam, and you get the best flavor.
That's the best flavor.
If you notice, like if you pick up a can of Guinness Draft, you're gonna look at it and you're like, "What is this Guinness Drought? Was there a drought of Guinness?" It's spelled DRAUGHT, but it's draft. I don't know if it's Gaelic or whatever, but if you see what appears to be drought, it's really draft. And you can get
it. Did you like the teacher's explanation?
No.
Okay.
And then you can get it in. If you get into the bar, especially, Guinness has a really serious program of like certifying their bars to teach it, to pour it.
In Ireland, people say beer and Guinness. You have Guinness in Ireland, it tastes a lot different than Guinness here and in other parts of the world. And some people say it's because Guinness, it's unpasteurized or what have you. It's more tuned to the fact that the Guinness factory regulates. If you're a pub in Ireland and you serve Guinness, which mostly all pubs in Ireland do, they regulate how the beer is done. They set up the taps, and from what I've been told, it's more about the ratio of the nitrogen to carbon dioxide, which is standardized. So when they come set you up, I think it's like a 50-50 ratio. There's a
whole science if you see them playing with the tap in a bar.
Yeah.
And I won't go into it. Like a lot of people are good. You can go to the Guinness factory or brewery and learn how to pour a perfect pipe. They have a little bar on the top. But over the time, these little cans, they've started making a version you can do at home. And over the year, they've actually, I want to say they've gotten better. The quality's gotten better.
Much better. Much better. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's not, I mean, it's not quite as good as the bar, but it's getting close.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. If you want any sort of Guinness or Murphy's or anything like that, you want it in the can, because the can's going to preserve that freshness and get you the full nitrogenization that you want.
Yeah. And the bottles are nice, but it doesn't give you the right size that's right for the glass. No. Now here's the thing: if you want to pick up some Guinness and give it to somebody, you might want to check this. You want to make sure you're getting. In most cases, you want to get the draft unless you know they like the extra stout. The extra stout is going to be a lot more like the traditional stout that we were drinking earlier, regular carbonated, heavier. And the beautiful thing about Guinness, I call it the gateway to stouts. Even if you don't like stout, I don't drink a ton of stouts. Mm-hmm. You bring me some Guinness, and I will drink it.
And you will have a new best friend.
Yes, I will be your best friend for a long time, and because I mean it's smooth. And here's the other thing: part of the process, they roast the barley, and that's what makes it different than it gives it a different color than your traditional beer. But it's not really that heavier, particularly if you get the draft. It has the same amount of calories as. I'm trying to think. Was it actually Bud or Bud Light?
It's roughly per ounce. It's roughly about 10 calories. So, a 15 or this thing of Guinness, which is 14.9 ounces, is about 150 calories.
Yeah, 50. It's only 15 more calories than the same size serving as Bud Light. Mm-hmm. So it is. You could technically call it a light beer. So in the great debate. Aaron tried both of these.
No, I did not.
All right, so did you try your Guinness? Try Guinness. Try Guinness. She's probably going to give the gag. Okay. That's a Guinness. And this is Murphy. Murphy's also has been around since the 1700s, but it's not... Yeah, she's not a big fan of either. She's not a fan of heavier beers to begin with, or
If I can't...
Murphy's has been around for the same amount of time, but it really wasn't marketed much outside of Ireland until the 80s.
And Murphy's is...
Okay, hang on. Nope. Whatever this one was,
yep.
It was more watery.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the Murphy's?
Yeah. So it's a debate. Some people think the Guinness...
I taste
yeah. If you had to drink one of them, which one would you?
Neither, because they taste like shit.
Are you gonna cast a vote? Well, you're also drinking like your little sweet cocktail.
I am drinking a Cape Cod,
which is gonna make it taste terrible when you drink anything else.
No, because I purposely stopped drinking when you said I needed to do taste test, and that was like 2 hours ago. Because now you haven't shut up since.
So unfortunately,
I'm gonna grab this little 3 bottle of alcohol and
you're gonna with what you're drinking, you're gonna get
No.
diabetes before you get a buzz.
So, see, my issue...
No.
My issue,
No. Stop. That runs through my veins.
Yeah.
If you look at a can of Murphy's, and Murphy's is, not as well known as Guinness, just because of... Murphy's is popular down in the south of Ireland in County Cork, and, it's just a different... Most people will drink Murphy's, or another popular one is actually a stout called Beamish. And there's two of those are drinking, but in most places in Ireland, most people are drinking Guinness. It's just, that's the way it is.
Do they have anything lighter?
They do. They have Coors over there, Aaron, so you'd be just fine.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
You'd be just fine.
I bet they have McDonald's too in Dublin, and people are thrilled to go check that out.
But see,
Thank you,
for me,
Jesus.
Guinness is reminds me of the warm Irish welcome, hello. Murphy's, on the other hand, is the side of the Irish when you upset them, you piss them off.
Is that why it tastes like water?
A little bitter.
See, to me,
but I agree. There is that watery taste.
Okay, thank you. It's not. See, it's not just me.
Oh, yeah. So it's kind of weird because to me,
so that explains why Mark Philbrick likes it, is because he likes watery beer.
Some people will say Guinness is more watery. Some people will say Murphy's is more watery. I think it's more bitter
It is very much more bitter.
But funny, one of the marketing angles for Murphy is they market itself as they called the friendly. They called themselves like the friendly stout because they thought they weren't as bitter.
Well,
I have something to say about that. So that I have a connection. So that reminds me of Gimbel's wanted to be the friendly store, the helpful store, back in the day. So basically Murphy's
is the
is the
Gimbel's
Gimbel's to Guinness's Macy's.
And
So here we go. So you guys can't see me because you're looking at Owen's ugly face, but I've got the cans over here, and I'm like demonstrating this and explaining this to the men folk, and apparently.
So to me, this is more bitter. The Murphy's is more bitter,
is very much
which
more
some
bitter.
people like. I think the two people that we were chatting with, Owen, I think the other night on the phone, that like the Murphy's better, typically like more bitter beer.
That is very true.
Say that 10 times fast.
That is very true. Well, one likes more bitter beer. The other's standard is Busch Latte, so we can't give that person any credit.
And natural light with like
natural
grapefruit and.
Oh wait, let me guess who you were talking
Who
to.
am I talking about?
You were talking about the Muppetese Mr. Randall and the redonkulous Mr. Filbert.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Randall's the one that likes the bitter beer, and Mark likes
I'm not
the
dumb.
the Lord holiness of Lyman, Mr. Mark Filbert.
Poor Mark is not here to defend himself.
He doesn't need to defend himself. We know what the deal is.
He is giving us a lot of information about. Don't say it because this is going to go on YouTube too. About what stouts, his reaction to stouts. A little too much information, but let's just say he likes stouts. Mark and Stout are cool.
Wait. This is considered a stout.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I know why he likes it, but I won't say it on the
So,
video.
yeah. Stout is a type of porter.
Yes,
Technically.
yes. Am I wrong?
All right. So family tree.
Does not branch.
You have beer overall, and then you have lagers and ale, and we talked about it a couple weeks ago. And so this is a type of ale.
They can't see you explaining this, dear,
which is
not
probably
looking
good.
at you.
So porters are a kind of ale, and stouts are a kind of porter. So it's another.
Are they cousins?
Kind of.
Are they siblings?
We don't know.
Are they
so anyway,
grandchildren?
that was our little toast tonight. We went on longer, but we had a special guest and two special guests.
3 special guests.
So
we had the pop.
So, my lovely wife Erin, cheers.
Cheers.
Owen,
Cheers.
and
I don't want to get your Corona over there.
To
myself, and we will
everyone stay healthy and happy out there.
Until we meet again.
until meet again. To you and yours, God bless.